When the sun comes up on America, across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
And good morning. Welcome to it, my friends, as we kick off another brand new day here at the program, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. God bless America. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, the countdown to the 4th of July is in full swing. Most of the country, millions of soccer fans celebrating from outside the country. Except for a few malcontents, we're going to have a fine time. Number two, the ceasefire in Iran seems to be on again, off again over the weekend. Iran claimed the Strait of Hormuz was closed, but CENTCOM made it clear that wasn't true. 14 million barrels of oil went through in just 24 hours. And number three, in case you haven't noticed, we're well into the month of June. The beginning of summer, also known to some as Pride Month. Remember the old days? Rainbows slapped on every corporate logo, parades shutting down entire cities, kindergarten teachers turning classrooms into indoctrination centers, and anyone who dared question it was branded a bigot and canceled overnight. Well, take a look around this year. It's quieter, much quieter. Look at the difference between these two Target stores. The one on the left is 2023 and Target this year, celebrating America instead of sexual preferences. In many places around the U.S., the explosions of color are muted. The corporate virtue signaling is down. The parades feel smaller and more defensive. The fever's breaking, and normal Americans are finally breathing a sigh of relief. Just look at Fresno County, California. The Board of Supervisors voted to block Pride Month activities at public libraries. This came after a drag queen teacher showed up at the meeting demanding that libraries stay LGBTQ safe spaces. You can see the parents in the background in complete disbelief. Here it is.
Hello. Hi. I'm Morgana. I am a drag queen. I am an activist. I am a substitute teacher. I am part of County District Number 1, and I am here to advocate that libraries are safe spaces. Are part of our queer youth are 30 to 40% in the Central Valley. They need this month, Mental Health Awareness Month, is very important. So I'm really glad that we talked about this today because mental health issues are extremely important for our LGBTQ community. And that's why libraries are safe spaces. They are more than just to go for books. They are for warmth. They are for our unhoused youth. They are for all people. So please remember, keep libraries safe. If Fresno City College can fly a pride flag, if Fresno State can fly a pride flag, why can we not at the library? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Tax-funded libraries should be for books and learning, not grooming kids for adult sexual expression. That's a massive win for common sense. More and more communities just saying, not here, not with our tax dollars, we're over it. But don't start cheering too loud quite yet. While the flashy national hype around Pride Month is waning, the hardcore extremism still lurks in liberal strongholds, especially the schools and certain hospitals and in blue city bureaucracies where ideology still trumps reality and safety. Today I'm going to tell you the truth. We're winning the broader cultural battles thanks to President Trump and the America First movement, but the fight is far from over. Let's start with the good news, the part that should give every parent and patriot some hope. Pride Month has lost its grip on the American public. Even Gallup, hardly a right-wing pollster, just dropped bombshell numbers in their 2026 Values and Beliefs Survey. Moral acceptance of gay and lesbian relations is down to 62%, the lowest since 2016. Support for same-sex marriage dropped to 65% from a peak of 71% just a few years ago. And the gender insanity, well, that's the one that really gets my attention. Only 38% of Americans now say it's morally acceptable to change your gender. That's an 8-point drop since 2021, with a clear majority calling it unacceptable. The trend is obvious. After years of nonstop rainbow overload, Americans are tapping out. Businesses learned the hard way after Bud Light, Target, and dozens of other brands hemorrhaged billions of dollars in boycotts. This year, reports show Fortune 500 companies slashing their Pride participation dramatically. Sponsors are drying up. Marketing teams are quietly shelving the most aggressive campaigns because customers are sick of it. The silent majority spoke loud and clear at the ballot box and in the checkout line. Enough with the corporate grooming, the sports takeovers, and the erasure of women and girls. This isn't some temporary dip, it's a backlash against overreach. For a decade, radical activists tried to shove every aspect of their agenda down our throats. Drag queen story hours for toddlers, biological men and women's locker rooms, and irreversible surgeries for confused kids. Normal people finally said, not in my country, not with my children. The Pride industrial complex is fizzling because Americans have rejected the extremism. Common sense is making a comeback under President Trump's leadership, and the culture is shifting back towards sanity, reality, and protecting our kids. But here's the warning you need to hear loud and clear. Do not mistake declining national hype for total victory. That's what Representative Brandon Gill is saying out loud. Here he is.
The 4 years that we suffered under Biden when Democrats were in power and were flooding the country with illegals, whenever woke was ascendant, all that can come back if Democrats take power again. I mean, we like to say woke is dead, but woke is not dead. That is something at the core of left-wing ideology. They're not backing away from that. They may be a lot more silent, but they're not backing away from that. And we've got a few good people in Congress who are willing to fight for it, fight against wokeness, who are willing to fight against mass migration. But we've got to be able to continue doing that work through after the midterms too. So it's really important that Republicans are able to keep control of the House. And if we are, I think we'll see a lot of these investigations, for instance, continue into the next 2 years.
Now, the radicals have not disappeared. They've just retreated to their strongholds, deep blue school districts, activist medical pockets, and captured institutions where they continue pushing the most dangerous parts of their radical agenda. Nowhere is this more blatant and heartbreaking than in Loudoun County, Virginia, where a few years ago, a ninth grade girl who was sexually assaulted in the women's restroom at school by a transgender male, that's a boy wearing a skirt. It wasn't an isolated incident. Loudoun County Public Schools had already seen multiple assaults before they doubled down with their insane policy. They let students use bathrooms and locker rooms based on their consistently asserted gender identity. They adopted that rule after the prior assaults had already happened, and then they covered it up. And they're doubling down still on their destructive priorities. On Capitol Hill, the Loudoun County Superintendent, Aaron Spence, still defending biological men in girls' showers, locker rooms, even on overnight field trips. Listen to this.
Do you think it's appropriate for boys to sleep in the same room as girls on field trips?
It's appropriate and lawful for transgender students to be able to be treated as their consistently identified gender.
Members of Congress grilled Loudoun County Superintendent Aaron Spence on his school district's policy that allows students to use bathrooms and locker rooms not based on biological sex, but chosen gender identity.
Dr. Spence, yes or no, should biological men be allowed in locker rooms with biologic women or girls?
Transgender women should be allowed in women's spaces.
That's a yes. So biologic men should be able to go into locker rooms and shower rooms with biologic girls.
Federal law requires it, yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Dr. Spence, do you use the women's restroom?
It's insane. It takes a lot to reverse the insanity, but we're getting there. He dodged basic questions. We'll have more on this and Pride Month and how it's changed after this on Daybreak. All right, so that superintendent, that superintendent you just heard from, he dodged basic questions about biological reality like his career depended on it because, frankly, it does. These folks aren't interested in safety or fairness. They're interested in enforcing their gender religion, no matter how many girls or guys get hurt. It's not inclusion. It's dangerous. And it's on full display when LCPS punishes students who are victimized by these policies. A group of boys complained to school authorities when a biological female was given access to their bathrooms and proceeded to record the boys. The boys were given a stronger punishment than the female who was recording inside a restroom, and the school superintendent isn't sorry about that either. Here's more.
Our school division would not discipline students absent a violation of our disciplinary policies.
Excuse me? What the heck does that mean?
Our
So
school
in
division
what
would not
realm
discipline
does that make
students
sense to you?
absent a violation of our
So
disciplinary
what realm
policies.
does that make sense to you, sir?
Our school division
That's a great answer
would
to a
not
question I didn't
discipline
ask.
students absent a violation of our disciplinary
the
policies.
victim's got a 10-day suspension, hypothetically. The person, the biological female that did the filming got a 1-day suspension, hypothetically. You're telling me that's okay? That's tolerable? That's cool? That's acceptable?
As I said before, our school district would
You're
not
weak.
discipline students.
You are extremely weak, pathetic, and thank God my children didn't go to your school.
I disagree with your
And
characterization.
Yeah, this is the radical left sacrificing our kids on the altar of ideology. But in some strongholds, the walls are breaking down. Even the Cleveland Clinic, one of the most prestigious hospitals in the country, has agreed to end youth transgender care. They're committing millions of dollars to detransition and restorative care. Why? Because the lawsuits are piling up. The science is catching up, and the horror stories of detransitioners are impossible to ignore. Kids rushed into hormones and surgeries, then left with lifelong regret, infertility, and health problems. Even elite institutions are walking it back under pressure from the Trump administration and common sense Americans. Yet the warning remains. Not every hospital or clinic has surrendered. In deep blue cities and activist networks, doctors and ideologues are still pushing these experimental treatments on minors. They're still confusing gender dysphoric kids instead of addressing underlying mental health issues. They're still prioritizing affirmation over caution. Used to be the same with our military. Under Biden, the military expanded access to transgender operations to make the military more diverse and inclusive, which really just made our military full of liability. But under Secretary Pete Hegseth, this is the message now. Listen.
We're not a college or a university. We're not interested in your woke garbage and your political correctness.
We're not interested at all. This is how you make America's military great again. We've also seen pushback in other areas. Scouting America, formerly the Boy Scouts, wisely returning to biology-based separations and other commitments. Hegseth made sure of it. Here's more.
Scouting America's leadership committed to, in that room right over there, will hopefully result in a rededication to the foundational ideals that have defined Scouting for generations. Duty to God and country, leadership, character, and service.
But the pattern is clear. Every time we win a national victory, the extremists dig in deeper where they still hold power. Pride Month is fizzling because the American people rejected the saturation bombing of their culture. Gallup confirms it. Corporate retreats prove it. Election results sealed it. Thanks to President Trump and millions of parents refusing to stay silent. We're taking our country back, one piece at a time. But vigilance is not negotiable. The radicals haven't repented. They've regrouped in their strongholds. They still control too many school boards. They still dominate certain medical boards and teachers' unions. They still believe your children belong to the state and to their twisted ideology. So what do? We keep fighting. Elect strong America First school boards. Support lawsuits from parents like the one fighting against Loudoun County perverts. Expose the cover-ups. Defund the indoctrination. Protect women's sports, women's spaces, and most importantly, protect our children from irreversible harm. This battle is about more than rainbows and parades. It's about whether we live in a reality or in a delusional fantasy pushed by the trans radical minority. It's about whether kids can feel safe in their own school restrooms. It's about whether parents have the right to raise their own kids. The rainbow is fading. Common sense is rising, but we must finish the job. Stay vigilant. Speak the truth. Protect the innocent and put America and American families first once again. And that's the monologue for this morning. Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity, and cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing? House alarms, doorbell cameras, deadbolts won't work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff, they're after your equity. Your title isn't being monitored. If it's not, scammers can transfer the title of your home into their name using a one-page document they filed down at the county. Then take out loans against it or even sell the property, vacant property, your house behind your back. The scariest part is you won't find out until collection or even foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox. But by then, the damage has been done. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from our friends at Home Title Lock. Triple lock protection is 24/7 monitoring of any changes. And God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services, no out-of-pocket cost to you. You can check on your home's title today and make sure you're not already a victim. Use the promo code Gruber at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes. And if fraud should occur, they will spend up to $1 million to fix it. How do you find out more? Go to HometitleLock.com right now. Use the promo code Gruber. That's HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Gruber. HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Gruber. Don't wake up and say, what is this letter in my mailbox? Well, I hope you had a great weekend. Nice to see you as we kick off another brand new week here on Real America's Voice and across the MTN networks nationwide now. Glad to have you here. Lots to talk about. I'll be right back.
Did you know that
Got some good news for you here today. Let's start with the price of gas down again. $3.92, the national average now, as gas continues to go down. West Texas Intermediate, $75 a barrel. Brent crude at $79 a barrel. So even though the negotiations with Iran have gone nowhere so far, well, the impact on the Strait of Hormuz, 14 million barrels in a 24-hour period over the weekend. I don't know what it was the last 24 hours, but oil is moving through the straits, so that's good news. Meanwhile, here's a headline I thought you would appreciate. Trump delivers 13 straight months of zero illegal alien releases at the U.S.-Mexico border. We haven't had any illegals released at the border in more than a year. I mean, how do you beat that? Right? How do you beat that? 13 straight months. That is a remarkable accomplishment. It really is a remarkable accomplishment. And one that should be applauded for sure. One that should be applauded for sure. It means that the border is secure, but we still have a lot of work to do to clean up what was let in when nobody was paying attention. Or if they were turning a blind eye and allowing millions to flow in. the guy leading the attack on the fight, the UFC 250 fight at the White House, an illegal alien. Not acceptable, my friends, but we're getting closer to getting the work done. Did you know that most people don't get enough DHA? It's a key nutrient your brain relies on for memory and focus. I use it every day. DHA is necessary for healthy brain function, may help support health for your heart and metabolic health. In fact, inadequate DHA levels in the brain have been linked to Alzheimer's. The good news is that longevity contains 180 milligrams DHA, 250 milligrams omega-3 oils per serving. Longevity is a complete nutritional support shake that gives you everything you need to age well, and it tastes great, and everybody in my house uses it. Go to longevitywellness.co. Enter the promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount. longevitywellness.co. Enter the promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount. Everybody here uses it. You're going to be glad you did. We just keep getting all these great emails. And don't forget, you can send me an email at stevegruber.com, whether it's about this or anything else. I'll be right back with Grover Norquist. Well, the state of Illinois wants to charge you more for getting online. You know, they don't see anything that they don't think they can tax. Now it's online activity. Yeah, J.B. Pritzker there, the governor, wanting to raise taxes by almost $1 billion for your online life. Surprised? Yeah, me either. Grover Norquist joining me, Americans for Tax Reform president. Grover, good morning.
Hi, good to be with you.
Good to be with you on a Monday. Look, first thing that actually stuck out to me here, Grover, the annual budget in Illinois is basically $56 billion, right?
Yep.
What's crazy about that is not that number. It's the fact that Michigan has an annual budget of $83 billion. And I'm trying to figure out where did we spend our money, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. Good Lord, Illinois is a much larger state. At any rate, tell me about the governor's plan here to go after people online.
Well, it's an idea he got from the Europeans. One of the things that President Trump has been trying to argue with the Europeans about is because they don't have the successful companies we have, and they haven't figured out that they tax people too much and regulate people too much. And that's why they don't have Meta and Google and Microsoft and other SpaceX and so on. They should worry about that. But instead, they've tried to figure out how to tax the American companies. Europe, and I'll come back to Illinois, but they're just mimicking what Europe's doing. Europe has decided they can make more money stealing from American companies than inventing their own. And in fact, that's what they do. They get more money taxing with targeted taxes on 5 American companies. And they're written so as not to hit any European. They have little teeny ones that don't work evidently, but they target the American firms that make money. And they go, okay, now we have a business taxing American high tech as opposed to creating high tech on their own. What Chicago's doing is the same kind of taxes the Europeans have thought up and is trying to do them here. Challenge is, it's probably unconstitutional. When we set up the internet and so on, there was a law passed that simply said, you know what, this is a new industry and you're not allowed to tax it directly. States aren't, and because we didn't want it broken up into 50 little pieces, and any one state could do damage to the entire country's access to the internet. And they're now doing exactly this, or trying to. It's a fool's errand that Chicago did it first and is being sued, and our friends in Illinois will be sued. They may spend more money in court than they ever get with this tax, but it is a really bad first example, and it tells you how desperate they are to raise taxes in Illinois. They have a flat rate income tax of under 5%. If they thought they had a good idea, they could go, whoa, let's go to 6%, and here's all the good stuff we're going to do. But even though they have 2/3 supermajorities, Democrats, very left wing, there isn't any moderate wing in the Illinois party. You got the fight between really corrupt and vaguely corrupt in Chicago and the rest of the state. But they can't go to the people of Illinois and say, we're going to raise your taxes from 4.95 to 6 or 5.5 or any other number, because they think they'll lose the election. They have to have taxes that are hidden. They specialize in that, and this is one of those.
So how long until we see that across the country here in the United States? Look, progressives are the same on this side of the ocean as they are on that side. More taxes, more promises, more free stuff to whoever they think might vote for them. I mean, that's the point you made, Grover. It's buying votes, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They haven't figured out how to govern, so they raise taxes instead. That's politicians raise taxes if they can't govern. Just keep doing everything you've been doing and get more money to do more stuff. Don't ever try and get it right, do it better, reduce costs, act as if you were servants of the people. Sorry, but that sounds funny when you're talking about Chicago and Illinois and too many states.
Yeah, and here's the other part that always galls me. You go to any of these states, Illinois, California, Michigan, doesn't matter. Let's audit the books. No. We can't do that. We can't look at the books and figure out where the money went. I just saw a remarkable article yesterday where 90% of the money we give in foreign aid never ends up where it belongs. 90%. And I wouldn't be surprised if in states like Illinois, where they raise taxes for this program or that program, has similar problems. The money never gets to the kid that's sick or the old person that needs help or whoever they promise to help, right? It never gets there, not the way it's supposed to. It gets chewed up by administrative costs and this get together and that conference and everything else. It gets used for 1,000 things that was never intended or never told it was going to be used for. That's the problem with government. It's terribly inefficient.
And as bad as it is, it can do better. New York has roughly the same population as Florida. It's actually small, but roughly the same. And Florida spends 113 billion, and New York spends twice that, 230 plus billion. So for the same number of people, they spend twice as much money. Their roads aren't better, their schools aren't better. They do have higher paid bureaucrats who work fewer hours in a day, fewer days in a year, fewer years in their careers, and have pensions that are amazing. And they hire large quantities of them because they always come out and vote. So you have similar situation between New Hampshire and Vermont. New Hampshire's twice as big; their government's smaller than Vermont's. So we're not talking. Florida's not perfect. New Hampshire's not perfect, but you could cut half the cost to your citizens in Vermont, in New York, if you just got as efficient as Florida and New Hampshire. And there are good examples of this around the country. It is possible. It's not impossible. You're not asking people to do something that no one's ever done before.
Yeah. How do we ever get away from this? Because the left, by practice, raises taxes, identifies victims. We have to protect these victims and fill in the blank of whatever the victim is, Grover. They've always got an extra victim waiting in queue that they can parade out and say, here's our next victim. We have to help these people. And if you don't, you're a terrible person. We've got to break this cycle. How do we do it?
Well, I think we're in the process of doing it right now. There are 50 states. There's one federal government. The federal government's a monopoly. It's tough to improve it. But with the federal government, with some of the tax rates coming down as a result of Reagan reductions and Trump reductions, the differences now between states shows up more. Okay, corporate rate at 50%. Who cares what the state corporate rate was? But the corporate rate's now 21%. So 4% state tax matters, is noticed, is visible, makes a difference. Same thing with individual tax rates. So we're seeing, and you read about this every day now, people leave New York, they're leaving California. Those states are hemorrhaging. The Midwest has been hemorrhaging. It's been going on for some time. A lot of it was labor unions, but it's also taxes now. People, businesses, jobs move to states like Texas and Florida and Tennessee, and they're now 8 states with no income tax. There are 12 that Americans for Tax Reform are working with that are phasing down to zero. 5 have passed a law to get there automatically. They don't have to do anything else. They can just sit there and the income tax phases down over time. Another 12 where every year they're cutting a little bit, and they say, we're going to zero, we're going to zero. People can see that there's an alternative. They see more government. And when enough people move and the electoral college shifts, it's going to shift 10 more electoral college.
Then real change happens. Grover, I got to leave it right there. The population shift and the attitude shift. Sir, thank you as always.
You got it.
If you All right, welcome back to it. Something we've been talking about for months now is how to heal with red light therapy. We talk about it a lot. And the reason I talk about it a lot is because Ivy uses it all the time. And in fact, I'm going to give you a little bonus here this morning. I'm going to bring Ivy in right now. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
You use this, it always gets my attention. You put the mask on. I don't know, I look over, because this looks like something out of Star Wars. But it is a remarkably effective tool. You think so, right?
I do, yeah. The face mask, red light therapy face mask, I use every night. It's great to support acne, keeping your skin looking youthful. And yes, it's always fun to frighten you when you're not realizing I have it on. But you use it too as well. I always like take it off myself and I kind of hand it over to you, and you're like, sometimes you're like,
True.
yeah, I'm for it. But it does really help, and I love it.
Yeah. And we've been talking about getting out in the sun and getting the right light to your skin. Rob Renee is from Exodus Strong. He created this mask. He also has a red light therapy bed that you now have, Ivy, that we use from Rob. Rob joins us this morning. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning. It's so excited to be here.
Well,
And
glad
Ivy's
to
right, man.
have
A
you.
face mask. That's where a lot of people start, right? But it's one piece of something bigger, as you guys know.
Yeah, you've got the wand, the mask, the bed, and all at a better price than anybody else. And so tell us about the benefits. Why red light, Rob? Why is it such an important therapy?
It's because it's helping people. That's what I'm so excited about. And with this technology, it's like, I've been in the wellness business for a few years now. And it's just that's the most gratifying thing, is when you're literally found things that can help people, right? And this is doing that so much. In fact, we get messages like this every week. But one came in last week that really struck me, right? This woman wrote in, she said, I almost didn't order. She tried everything, physical therapy, supplements, the expensive things that never quite worked. She was tired of being tired. Her husband's the one who said, hey, just try it. What do you have to lose? It's a 60-day money back guarantee, right? So she did. And she started lying on the mat, 20 minutes a day. And the first thing she noticed wasn't her body. It was her sleep. Within the first week, she was sleeping through the night again. By the end of the month, she'd felt like herself again, like she'd gotten something back. And here's the part that got me. She wrote back and she ordered a second mat for her mother. It was just so special. It was like, what is this? People are getting a piece of their life back, and they're wanting it for people they love. It's so exciting.
Yeah, and look, people that watch this program, they say, man, Ivy is she looks great, her skin's great, and Ivy, I think you would appreciate this and would agree with this. Since you've used it, and you do a regimen, but since you've used it, it's changed things, hasn't it?
It has. Well, this weekend too. Yesterday, I had my nieces and nephews out wake surfing, and I was teaching them. So my body is exceptionally sore. And the first thing I think
I
about
can
doing is
imagine.
laying on the red light therapy mat, because it does help with muscular soreness. It's very supportive in that way, and cellular regeneration. And like you said, Rob, sleep. So I highly recommend that. I do lay on the mat very consistently. But overall, yes, being on the television show every day, it's always important to look and feel my best. So I do this pretty much on a daily basis.
Right. So there it is. There's testimony, Rob. There it is, from somebody who uses the product. I do use it some. She uses it. She's very consistent about it, and as a result, has consistent outcomes. And that's the point. If you use it, it's going to work, just like the lady you just mentioned, Rob, who got one for her mom.
That's right. That's right. That's what's so fun about this technology, is it's literally, helping people, and the recovery is really important part of the whole mix, because when you get sore and you're achy, to use the technology to recover is really, really important. And that's it. And it just does it, right? It literally goes into the skin and helps with the mitochondria, right? That's where the ATP, the energy system in your body, works. And so we've put together this whole complete system for people that's super important. You get the whole full body red light mat It's 71 inches long and 31 inches wide. It's like really large, so everybody can fit on it. And because you're a Daybreak listener, right, the things people usually pay extra for, we're including free. That's the one thing I love about this is we're including that wonderful face mask that Ivy just told you about, and we call it the Radiant System because we include a pre-serum. So it's a treatment that has peptides in it that really prepares the skin for the facial treatment, and then we have a mist that helps solidify it on the back end of the treatment. And then we're even including our Exodus supplement. So that helps with the mitochondria on the inside from the bloodstream. So we're helping from the outside, we're helping from the inside, and our mat has our frequency relief card on it, which is unique to us. There's no other company in the world who's using this. So it's not like any other red light therapy product you're going to get in the market. Ours is unique, it's different, and it's helping people. So I'm so excited about that.
There it is. And it's all, you can get that whole thing. Everything he just said there, everything you saw on your screen, $597. If you go to exodusstrong.com/Gruber, the discount is automatically applied. You can have the whole shooting match, Rob, the whole shooting match there. I mean, that's a heck of a deal. And it is 60 days, money back guarantee. If you don't love it, send it back or just send it to us. We'll use it. Rob, I got to run. I greatly appreciate you, sir.
Hey, there's one more quick thing. If everybody that orders today, we're actually going to include the light code Vault. It's a complete digital library with the heart of it's a 30-day protocol for people. And this is a $1,400 value totally with all of those combined. So I just want people to understand that they're getting a ridiculously good value. So thank you so much for having me, Steve. And Ivy, lovely to see you. Look fantastic. You obviously recovered well from your trip yesterday. God bless you,
Rob. God bless you, my friend. All right. It is exodusstrong.com/Gruber. Looked as good as Ivy. I don't know if that's possible, but do your best. exodusstrong.com/Gruber. You're going to get the discount plus that extra code VAULT today. VAULT. I'll be right back. here's something that I wanted to share with you because this is really significant. I thought this was true. And it appears that I was right. I've been having this, I've noticed not a lot of tornadoes being reported. I don't know if you noticed this as well. So I'm thinking, May is the big month for tornadoes, into June, the big month for tornadoes. And I thought, well, we're not having as many. So I just checked. Normally we'd have 1,500 or more tornadoes in America by this time of the year. 2024, there was 1,800 by this time. We're at 931. We're at half the number of tornadoes in America we were in 2024 through June the 16th. That's as far as it reports up. So it seems to me this climate change thing, the end of the world, doom and destruction. Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and not panic again. I don't know what it's been like with you. We've had a couple tornadoes in Michigan where I am. We always have about 15 or 20. That's the statewide average, 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. Other states, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, obviously have a lot more. But the numbers are down all over the country. And that does not diminish those that have been hit by tornadoes or had, a terrible blow. And anyhow, so I'm just keeping an eye on that as I think it's an interesting point that tornadoes are way down and way down from the average of what we would normally see. And that's good for all of us. But this idea that storms are getting worse and weather is getting worse, poppycock, I say to you, poppycock. It's simply not true. So that's why I bring you facts. And here's something you can share at the water cooler. 931, half the number of tornadoes that we saw just 2 years ago. Last year at this point, we were at 1,400. So we're 500 tornadoes less than we were just last year. Now, this could be an aberration. We could be back to those normal numbers, in some time in the near future. But right now, quiet year for tornadoes. That's good news. Not a quiet year politically, of course, and we'll have more for you as we continue this Monday on Daybreak.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, welcome back as we continue fighting for America from the Foxhole of Freedom. Glad to have you here. Hope you had a great weekend, a great Father's Day for you dads out there. Hope it was good for you. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, was the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. sabotaged? Well, it sure seems that way. Arrests have been made, more on the way. Plus, it will need to be drained and repaired again. Nice job. Who does that, by the way? And number two, the ceasefire hanging on in the Middle East, and today gas prices continue to fall. $3.93, the national average. Oil prices low as well in the mid-70s. Ships moving through the Strait of Hormuz. And number three, I want to pick up where we started the first hour today. It's a serious question. What's happening to the Democrat Party? Seriously. What happened to the party of FDR and JFK and even Bill Clinton? Where have these people gone? Bernie Sanders, in my estimation, has always been a communist kook. He's just a kook. Never done anything. There's no signature legislation from Bernie Sanders in, 40 years? And yet he's the one that's in charge now when it comes to the theology of the Democrat Party. Ivy is back. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to share with you something here, Ivy. Doug Shane, he has been a Democrat his entire life, a guy who's been, helpful in the Clinton administration. He was involved in the Obama administration. He has been an advisor, a lifelong guy who is truly frightened by what he's seeing. Listen to this.
With you.
Okay.
What the heck is happening with your party?
It is moving far left. Bernie Sanders has become the ideological leader of the party. The congressional candidates you mentioned, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, may well win. You have Plattner in Maine. You have Abdul El-Sayed leading in Michigan. Put another way, my party is being taken over by far-left socialists who do not basically believe, as you heard, in our American values. It's very scary, Lisa.
It is very.
It is scary. And we've been talking about this, Ivy. I mean, Abdul El-Sayed is right here in Michigan. And I guess I'm surprised. You mentioned it first, and then I've noticed since that you see the Abdul signs. That's how they put them out on the signs. Abdul signs, and people shout, I'm like, what do you guys support? Anti-Semitism, higher taxes, men and women's sports? I don't get it.
I do find it very strange. I think we're speaking to the choir here, but let's remember that, these democratic socialists are high taxation. They support high taxation, universal health care, housing for everyone, free college education for everyone. Of course, everyone, those of us who know better know nothing is free. Abolishing, U.S. borders, immigration and customs, ICE, abolishing ICE. And this list goes on, but it's just always incredibly surprising to me how these people just don't understand that these sorts of policies fail every single time. Am I wrong, Steve?
No, you're not wrong. They do fail every time. We just heard, in Grover Norquist in the first hour talking about how Illinois wants to jack up taxes again. The Democrat states always jack up taxes. He told us how New York and Florida are roughly the same size now. Florida runs on half the money of New York. Is life better in New York? Do they have better services, less potholes? No, they don't.
Right. Well, those in the Progressive Party that, like AOC, she supports up to 70% taxation on the highest earners in this country. 70% taxation. That is unbelievable.
Can you imagine? I mean, you and I work hard. We do. Everybody knows that. We work hard. And so we earn something because we outwork everybody else, right? Or not everybody, but we outwork probably the majority of people because we're at it. We were at it Father's Day weekend. We were working all weekend on a project, right? Trying to get it figured out and get everything dialed in. We get rewarded for that at some point. And somebody who's sitting on the couch should get the money for what you and I did all weekend. Does that even who does that make sense to?
Right. That's what we call equity, right? So equal outcomes for all. Uh,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter how hard you work or if you just want to sit on the couch. That means that the person that works really hard gets to give their money to the person who just wants to sit on the couch all day long, and they get just as much benefit as you do. And that doesn't work, and we should have an economy and this United States of America that we live in, that you should get rewarded for your hard work. That's achieving the American dream, that anyone can achieve the American dream. If you go out there, if you have an idea, if you can see it and you believe it, you can achieve it. And I really truly believe that. And I just do not see how these sorts of progressive, you know, um, ideas win in America. And when we drive around Michigan, we see all of these, Abdul Sayed signs, and it's alarming because
You
it's
know,
clear that these people aren't very educated on what the kind of the damage that these sorts of policies would do.
I think one of the big eye openers for me in the last couple of weeks has been all these tourists coming in for the World Cup, right? All these tourists
Oh
coming
yeah.
in saying, "We were told something completely different about America. We were told this and this. None of that's true. We love this place. We don't want to go home."
Yeah.
And for the people to come here and say, "We've been lied to by the media," so have the
Well,
American every day.
honestly, we might be a bit spoiled in America. We take our freedom and the wealth that we have in this country for granted. I mean, look around, pretty much every person, even those that are the poorest among us, have cell phones generally that are like $1,000 or more a pop. And so, I think that we take a lot of people take our country for granted, and that's unfortunate, but it is nice to see and have, and I'm not saying everyone, but there are many. But it is nice to see people from other countries coming in and just loving our country. It's a breath of fresh air when, generally in the news cycle, it just seems to be doom and gloom. So it is nice to hear some positive feedback.
Yeah, it's like they get what you and I get, what people that watch this program get and understand.
Hmm.
You might be here on the
Exactly.
income ladder, you might be way up here on the income ladder, but you're an American. America's
That's
poverty
right.
rate is set at 32 times higher than the world poverty rate. Think about that. So poverty in America comes with a cell phone and food and other things that if you're in poverty in other countries, if you want to learn about other countries, go travel there. Don't sit here and bump your
Yeah.
gums and tell me how terrible America is. Go look around a little bit and then get back to me. I've traveled enough. So have you. We've seen real
Yeah.
poverty, you know. And so
Yeah.
it's I don't see how these candidates win either. I don't. I don't understand Plattner. I don't understand Tallarico. I don't understand Abdul El Sayed. How anybody could support this, I don't know, this blind view that America's this terrible, racist, awful place that everybody wants to come to. Anyhow,
Hmm.
so that's Brian.
Agreed.
Anyhow, lovely seeing you as always. Love you.
Same to you. Love you.
Anyhow, I love this country. And I will always love this country. And I will always fight for this country. And I'll be right here with you every day until there's no breath left in my lungs. That's how much I believe in this country. Because I see great things every day. And so do the people that visit. They're like, wow, this is not what we were told. No kidding. You were lied to by the media. What a shock. Anyhow, God bless America. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to Daybreak. Special segment for you today. If you're struggling with thinning hair, you'll want to pay close attention. I think you'll find this helpful. We have a special guest joining us. Naturopath practitioner Mandy Beechner is here. Mandy is a board-certified trichologist, and she's going to share a simple natural ritual women can use to promote thicker and fuller hair. Good to see you this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
So I understand you've partnered with a company called Purance who specializes in natural hair care. Tell us about this company.
That's right. So what I love about Purance is that they only use natural and organic ingredients in their products. So you're not going to find any sodium, no silicones. There's not going to be any parabens, no harsh chemicals like you typically find in most skincare and hair care products. So this makes Purance a great option with women with aging hair.
It's a great product, but they have this groundbreaking solution for thinning hair, which happens to men, but it also happens to women. It bothers women a lot more. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. It's called the Hydro Lift shampoo. And this isn't like any other shampoo on the market. Hydro Lift uses 3 phases for growth. So the first phase is the root revival system. This phase has ingredients that help dissolve any buildup that's on the scalp or the hair that allows your hair follicles to breathe again. The second part is the hair thickening matrix. This has hydrolyzed wheat protein attaching to weak spots on the hair. So over time, it actually strengthens the hair and creates a stronger follicle. That way your hair can look fuller and thicker over time. And the last part of this that I really want to touch on is the protective essence shield. This phase is about protecting the hair follicle from further damage, like environmental stressors. And they use natural ingredients that form this sort of invisible shield around your hair follicles. And this lets crucial nourishing ingredients inside while keeping those harmful ingredients out.
Yeah, and that's amazing. But how easy is it to use? Is it something you have to use every day or not so often?
That's a great question. It's actually very easy to use. And one of the things that I love about Hydro Lift shampoo is how quickly it forms a lather. So it's not too difficult. 2 minutes in the shower, 3 to 4 times a week is sufficient for Hydro Lift to work. You don't need to use it every day, but you can if you need to.
Well, that's perfect. So anyone who's watching and is interested in trying Hydro Lift, how do they do that?
Just head over to Purance.com to shop Hydro Lift. And for a limited time, viewers of your show can actually get 35% off their order by entering the discount early, EARLY, on the checkout page. And then I also want to mention that Purance offers an industry-leading 365 money-back guarantee. So you have a full year to try Hydro Lift, and if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your entire order.
And there you have it, Ms. Beechner. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you being here and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Greatly appreciate it. Like she said, if you're interested in trying Hydro Lift, completely risk-free for a full year, go over to Purance. Purance.com to place your order. Don't forget to use the discount code DAYBREAK to save 35% on your order. That's Purance.com, and you'll save 35% today. Greatly appreciate that. Hey, I want to shift back now to what Ivy and I were talking about, what I've been talking about since the top of the program. The Democrat Party. Who are they today? Who are they? I want to go to bite number 11 here, Anthony, because Bill Maher, who is a lifelong Democrat, another one of these guys who's a lifelong Democrat, looking at the party going, who are you? What's going on? And this is what he had to say.
Every election year, Democrats seem to remember patriotism for about an hour at their convention when they're trying to win back swing voters. The whole message of Kamala's speech in 2024 was take back the flag. That's why she talked about America like a pageant contestant.
The greatest privilege on earth. The privilege and pride of being an American.
Hard to believe she lost, huh? Well, you can't take back the flag in an hour if the rest of the time you treat patriotism as something vaguely embarrassing. It shouldn't be, even though we are far from perfect.
Yeah. Not something you can take back for an hour. And yet, that's what we continue to see over and over again, taking back patriotism for an hour to try to appeal to swing voters. Hey, we love America too. Well, based on their behavior, I don't think that's true. Based on their behavior, it seems that they're not on the same team as you and I oftentimes. You see, because when they look out at a group of people, they see victims. Victims. Everybody's a victim. They're this color and they're that sexual orientation. They're not victims. I look at a crowd and I see opportunity, right? That person can be an electrician. She can start her own hair salon, whatever it might be. You can build something. That kid can go to school and invent the next great thing for America and the world. I see possibilities. I see potential. I see opportunities and potential and real upside. They see victims. Maybe that's the difference of how I look at the world compared to them. I hope you look at the world and think, man, the American dream is alive and well. Is it hard? Yeah, it's always been hard. But as Ivy said just a short while ago, what does it take? Hard work, and a lot of it. It's not just a gift for people sitting on their couch, all right? There, I got that off my chest. Nice to see you on a Monday. I'll take a break and be right back. I was talking to Grover Norquist about this a short while ago. This mass exodus. Why are so many Americans leaving city life behind? Coming up today on Forgotten America, Molly Engelhardt shares her remarkable journey from successful Los Angeles restaurateur to regenerative farmer. She was a vegan Democrat, a far-left vegan Democrat who realized maybe it wasn't as healthy as she had been led to believe. And she says she believes Americans are hungry for something money can't buy, independence. As small farms disappear and corporate agriculture grows, Molly says more people are searching for a different path. It's so true. One built on local food, self-sufficiency, community, and freedom. Has America become too dependent on systems it can't control? And can rural America make a comeback? That's the question. It's a conversation about food, freedom, and the future of the country with a longtime, lifelong vegan Democrat. Drops today at 9 a.m. on YouTube. Forgotten America. Just search Steve Gruber on YouTube. Become a free subscriber. Here's a preview.
And I ultimately think the more we can take care of the vessel that holds our soul and the longer we can be here with our family, that is priceless. And so I think it's incredibly important to eat fermented foods, eat clean foods, sourdough bread, no chemicals, no additives, eat whole foods in the way they were meant to be made. And God has a design. And if we follow that design, we will flourish. And if we go away from that design, then we do not flourish. And it's very, very obvious. And so it's not complicated. And I know it feels scary or hard or expensive, but eating whole foods in the way they were created originally is actually can be cheaper. It doesn't, you might not going to eat filet mignon every day, but eating vegetables, meat, eggs, staying on the outer perimeters of the grocery store is the first step. And then the second step is to try to get those things locally and get them from a farmer that you know didn't spray them. But we are noticing all of the things. Our fertility is dropping, testosterone is dropping. Boys are not even getting Adam's apples anymore. There's the Adam's apples in the 50s compared to.
And there you have it. That's a quick preview for you. You can find the entire interview, and it is fascinating. A lifelong vegan Democrat becoming a carnivore and a conservative. Find Steve Gruber on YouTube. Become a free subscriber. Watch Forgotten America. Drops at 9 o'clock this morning. All right, watching the developments in Iran. The Iranians showed up to meet in Switzerland and walked out. J.D. Vance was there. Not a lot of progress, but in Paris over the weekend, Iranians in exile gathered in large numbers to discuss the future of that country which they love. Dr. Ramesh Separad is a leading Iranian-American scholar, published author, cybersecurity executive, and human rights advocate. She's a board of directors member of the Organization of Iranian-American Community. She joins me now. Doctor, nice to see you today.
Hi, Steve. It's good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Give me your feelings right now. I mean, Iran, let's be honest, the current regime cannot be trusted. They'll make promises they don't keep. They'll say whatever needs to be said to kind of move things forward. Oil is flowing again. They think they're going to get a $300 billion payoff, but they're not going to get any of that unless they follow the 14-point plan and agree to the things that are in that plan, including no nuclear weapons, no trying to take over the Strait of Hormuz and so forth. And the Trump administration has been clear. If you do that again, we will take over the Strait of Hormuz. You'll have no control there at all. I don't know what I think of that, but what do you think about what's happening right now?
So I think we are going to continue to see the dog and pony show with the Iranian regime. From day one, has not been a sincere partner at the negotiation table. The Iranian regime wants to buy time, wants to figure out its chaotic leadership on the IRGC. There's an invisible supreme leader that no one knows if he's alive or not. So the real question, honestly, Steve, should be, what is Iranian people doing what are the people of Iran doing to bring this regime down? And that's what we saw in Paris this past weekend. We saw protests that was last minute banned by the French police in order to appease the Iranian regime, still taking place. Not in its original location, but in multiple locations. We saw 2-day summit with several high-profile political figures, including former Prime Minister from United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, attending that event, addressing the event, talking how shameful this move by the French authorities have been, and supporting Mariam Rajavi's 10-point plan. We saw this powerful message from Mariam Rajavi talking about what should lie ahead, which is focusing on the missing link, the Iranian people and their organized resistance movement. This is the message that is coming from Paris. It doesn't matter what happens in Switzerland. I think the real message for the real policy on Iran happened in Paris in the last 2 days with the summit. That was Mariam Rajavi was the keynote speaker on both days, with the protest that was happening across the city, despite the appeasing French authority to try to ban it last minute. Thousands of Iranians showed up. 50,000 were already in Paris, even though this was planned to be 100,000, largest rally in Paris. But still happened. Still, the voice of the Iranian people was heard in the streets of Paris, which was to end the execution, to support an Iranian regime change, and to end the appeasement and any war with the Iranian regime, but to stand on the side of the Iranian people to bring this regime down. That should be the real story that we need to pay attention to.
And that is it's a big story and it's a big hill to climb, Doctor, because look, only 10% of Iran is IRGC, give or take, from everyone in your organization and others that I've talked to. 90% of the people want nothing to do with this regime. They want freedom. They want the right to vote. They want the right to worship the way they want, but they don't have any way to get there. They're unarmed. They're under constant threat from the IRGC that has increased the number of executions. We know that they killed 30 or 40,000 of their own people, your people, earlier this year. How do you get there?
I think the formula is very simple. We have seen it in the multiple nationwide uprisings in Iran in the last several years. In fact, in the January uprising, right days before the war began, the 40-day war began, we saw liberated cities by Iran's resistance units. We saw the amazing operation by the MEK resistance unit inside Iran, the attack on Khamenei's residence, which is was the most secure place in Iran. They made the advancement, they made themselves known. We are seeing the reemergence of the National Liberation Army of Iran on the ground. This is the message we have to stand behind. You're absolutely right. This is a regime that's going to kill until its very last minute. Even that 10% of the IRGC, they kill to stay in power. But I think what they are not understanding is the resolve of the Iranian people, is the resiliency, is the organized resistance movement that is networked across all 31 provinces in Iran. That is what we need to really get behind from a Western policy standpoint to support them, to provide them political and moral support. Iranian people are not asking for a foreign war. They're not asking for being armed by any other country. They know how to bring this regime down. As I said, the strategy of the National Liberation Army is re-emerging inside the country. And this is, Steve, I have to admit, this is what the regime in Tehran fears the most. So my advice to all the policy makers out there is to really educate yourself on this topic, understand what that means when it comes to the policy on Iran that has been unfortunately locked between the talk of appeasement or talk of war. We have to break that cycle. And as Mariam Rajabi has said, there is a third option. The third option is to support the Iranian people and the organized resistance movement to bring this regime down. And that is the support that has been reflected in the bipartisan majority of the House resolution in US Congress. So this is the path forward. And I think it's really a message that the Iranian people are expecting the world community to deliver and see the leaders of the Western and the free world to get behind.
So just to circle back so I make sure I'm clear on this, you don't, because I don't expect the Iranians that showed up in Geneva to negotiate in good faith. I don't. I believe, like you said, they're going to come out of that. The only way this changes is the people in the streets of the 31 provinces of Iran stand up and get heard. Last word to you.
Absolutely. So the real question is for Washington, for Paris, for Berlin, for London. The real question for them is, are you ready for the next Iran's uprising? Are you ready for Iran's resistance, organized resistance movement to bring this regime down? And are you ready and have you studied the provisional government? 4 decades have been preparing for this moment.
We appreciate you being here, Doctor. We wish you only the very best, of course, as we move
Thank you
forward.
very
Thank you for
much.
taking time. Thank you very much. I'm doubtful that we're going to get there with this. We've got, what, 55 days to go, whatever it is. They don't negotiate in good faith. They lie, they manipulate, and they make promises they don't keep. This part of the program brought to you by Pure Clean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet, because life after service deserves opportunity, ownership, and purpose. Pure Clean's program for veterans, purovet.com. You can call 855-PuroVet if you're a veteran or know somebody who is. You can have ownership of your own company, contribute to your community, and be at the front of the line. purovet.com. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it as we continue the conversation now. You've heard about these flesh-eating maggots, the screw worm, coming into Texas. You've obviously heard about this. It's obviously greatly concerning to ranchers and so forth in the southern United States. Ammon Blair is a former Border Patrol agent, senior fellow for the Texas Public Policy Foundation, here to discuss this. Ammon, good to have you on the program.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
All right. So, first of all, explain what this little creature is. This screw worm. What is it?
Yeah, so it's actually a fly. So the fly will come in and it is attracted to open wounds. A wound that could be just as small as a tick bite. It then goes and lays eggs into your wound. And I say you because we also have over 2,000 human cases in Mexico and Central America. From there, the larvae will hatch and then start feeding on living flesh. A fly could come back to that wound and continue to produce more eggs inside that wound as well. So you could have up to 300 to 400 eggs and then larvae or maggots, really, and that's what the screwworm is. The screwworm has these type of spike. It looks like a screw itself. It has like external spikes on the edge that help burrow it into the living tissue itself as it feeds on living animals. And so it'll be in that animal for almost a week. And then once it's done, it then goes and drops into the ground. And then once it's there, it burrows into the ground. And then from there, it turns back into a fly. And then it just repeats that process.
Sounds painful for people, probably painful for a cow or whatever animal gets it as well. I mean, it doesn't sound like a very comfortable thing. Do anti-parasites work on this? Things like ivermectin that are used in the cattle industry?
Yes, sir. They do work as there are certain things. If everyone can go onto THC's website, the Texas Animal Health website, as well as USDA, they show all the approved things. The FDA is also, based off of the emergency, has also approved other over-the-counter drugs as well, just like ivermectin that you mentioned. And so they actually have an education website. The Texas is actually asking through Texas A&M for people to become certified to understand what to look for, to get everyone within their counties to actually understand what's actually happening and to understand what it looks like, what the fly looks like. Because there are other flies that are pretty similar, that look pretty similar to the screwworm fly itself. And so to get a better grip or handle on this, education is probably going to be top priority for every single county. I think the screwworm now is now in 14 counties there in Texas. And so it's continuously spreading. The last case was just 2 days ago on the 20th.
Right. So one of the things that you say is happening is that the Mexican drug cartels, they're pushing this deal. How would they do that, and why would they do that?
Yeah, great question. So, the containment area in Panama on the Darien Gap actually broke during the invasion that was coming into the United States with the millions of illegal aliens coming through the Darien Gap. The screwworm was never eradicated in South America. We just had a containment area in Darien. Because of the invasion, it completely eradicated that containment period. At the same time, the Mexican cartels traffic roughly about 800,000 cattle from Central America into Mexico. And so there are really four main sites there in Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala, where the Mexican cartels have completely destroyed protected rainforests and built massive narco ranches to not only produce more cattle, but also narcotics. And so the Mexican cartels will take this and then get falsified vet certifications, falsified documentation, falsified or buy illegal like ear tags to show that they are actually Mexican cattle. And the reason being is we only trade live cattle with two countries, Canada and Mexico. So if you can get your product, if you're a country that really wants to trade in that effect, and you're like Nicaragua, which is a communist country, and you want to trade with America and send your cattle into America to make money, you're going to have to do it in the underworld. And the Mexican cartels are going to provide that for you. They are the largest illicit traffickers in the world. If you look at Mexico right now, they are the number one. They have the number one criminal marketplace in the entire world. In terms of criminality, they are number 3 in the world. And so we somewhat have a myopic focus on fentanyl and illegal aliens when it comes to the commodities that the cartels typically use. We forget to realize that the cartels are in every facet of society within Mexico and in everything that comes into the US, both licit, illicit, and black market. The cartels have either control or extort to come into the United States.
Wow. I had no idea that, illegal cattle was such a big operation, but the cartels, any place they can make a dollar, they'll plug right in. Thank you for the education today.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for having me.
Really appreciate it. We'll keep an eye on this crazy thing, the screwworm, flesh-eating maggots. Yikes. It's hot out there. The 250th birthday celebration on the way as we prepare to celebrate this glorious milestone. Patriots Relief has a perfect CBD healing solution for you. Summer means fun. It also means getting sore. Sore, you don't want that. Patriots Relief CBD can assist alleviating that pain, those aches. Enjoy your summer. Do not let pain get in the way. Call my good friend Tim and his family at 877-230-17. Take 40% right now to get free shipping. PatriotRelief.com or 877-230-1776. Use the promo code Gruber at checkout. PatriotsRelief.com, promo code Gruber. Yeah, get through summer with a smile on your face. I'll be right back. All right, let's check in on sports now with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Wyndham Clark held off a charging Sam Burns to win the U.S. Open Golf Championship yesterday at Shinnecock Hills on Long Island. It's Clark's second U.S. Open title. He wins $4.5 million for his efforts. South Korea's Tom Kim finished third behind Clark and Burns. At the World Cup, there were 4 games yesterday. Spain shut out Saudi Arabia 4-0. Cape Verde and Uruguay played to a 2-2 tie. Belgium and Iran played to a scoreless draw, and Egypt beat New Zealand 3-1. A full schedule in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Tampa Bay, Detroit, and Texas. National League winners included Miami, Cincinnati, and Milwaukee. Corey Heim won the NASCAR Anduril 250 in San Diego yesterday for his first ever Cup Series win. And North Carolina beat Oklahoma 6-2 to force a deciding third game at the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that. Greatly appreciate it. When do the United States play again in soccer, did you say?
It is it's a Thursday.
Thursday. And
Play
who do
their
we
last
get?
group game. What's that?
Against who?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, Turkey. They're playing Turkey. Yeah. That's right.
All right, fair enough. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Brock. I'm just trying to
No,
keep
that's
up
okay. I couldn't remember for a moment. I'm just oh, that's right. They're playing Turkey.
There you go. All right. Greatly appreciate it. Understand we had a couple of little glitches there. You know why? Because WOW is just terrible to deal with, our internet service. Just no matter how many times we call, no matter how many times we try to fix things, we just have trouble with WOW. They don't seem to be an A player. How about that? So for any of you that missed it, patriotsrelief.com, save 40%. Go to patriotsrelief.com. Save 40% to get through summer pain-free. Pain-free. And we'll try to get through this with this little pain from WOW, our internet provider. We'll do our best. Technology some days better than other days. I apologize on their behalf. I'll be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, and welcome to it. Glad to have you here on a Monday. Hope you had a great Monday. Hope it was good to you. A lot of things to cover here today. Let's start with this. Number one, the price of gasoline. Down again. That's good news, right? The price of gasoline down, the price of oil down, as the ceasefire, such as it is, continues in the Middle East. Number two, speaking of the ceasefire, no progress to report at all on talks with Iran for a permanent solution to what's happening in the Middle East. We'll talk about that. And number three, an interesting story out of Iowa I want to share with you. A news anchor quit at the front end of the news and got emotional. An Emmy Award-winning television news anchor, a job that I did for years on local news. Dustin Nolan is his name. I've chosen to step away from the news industry, he said. And he said, it's really important, local news. And we can't give people a sanitized version of the news or trendy news. We have to give people the facts. I applaud that because that's what we do here. If you get uncomfortable with what we talk about because we tell you the truth, so be it. I don't know anything about Dustin Nolan or his beliefs on the world except that he told the truth. He said, we can't have sanitized news or trendy news. Boy, is he right about that. Boy, is he right about that. And he worked in the Quad Cities there. His wife was his co-anchor. Apparently, she's going to stay. He's been there for years in the job. KWQC TV6. Yep. And I applaud it. I believe as a local news station, we owe you, the viewers, the best we can do. I believe the same thing. We get up here early every day, work really hard for you every day because telling you the truth, whether you like it or not, is what we're doing here, the relentless pursuit of truth. So I applaud that young man for having principles and standing on those principles and saying, I can't do this anymore. And my guess is, it has a lot to do with management. That would be my guess. Anyhow, I want to give you a couple of sound bites here. This Obama library, what an abomination, or an abomination. It is honestly one of the ugliest things I have ever seen. Looks like something they'd build in North Korea or Russia. It's an eyesore. People, it's the greatest thing. It's not the greatest thing. It's a chunk of concrete that looks like it fell out of space. That's what it is. Anyhow, Bill Maher ripping the Obama Center in Chicago. It's bite number 13, Anthony. Listen to this.
You guys were both at the Obama Library? Yeah. Do we have a picture of the Obama Library? Because it looks like Death Star. It looks like something aliens built in Dubai.
I like it. Tough but fair.
Why do it cost $850 million?
Yeah.
I don't understand why progressives like this. Couldn't that, money be better spent on something else? Who's going to go to this? Why do we need a president?
Raul, what do you think?
Why does anyone need a presidential library? These monuments to somebody's ego out of office. Are you? Anybody here in this audience planning to go to the Obama presidential library?
Sure. There you go.
Really?
Bill, come on.
What a bunch of fucking liars you are. You're not going to the Obama library.
You're not going to the Obama library. Get a grip on yourself. If it's a testament to ego, and please take this in the spirit intended, the Trump library will be 4 times as big as any other library. It'll be built in Florida. If it's a testament to how people view themselves. I'm going to run right down the list here. I want to go to bite 14 here, Anthony. Reason being is we see all these LGBTQ leaders, right, out there promoting this and that. Well, I want you to see this. An LGBTQ plus leader arrested for sexual exploitation of a child. Are you shocked? me either. Listen to this.
Hiya, guys. Anita Buffum here. I just got done doing a talk, which I've been asked to speak places, which is fabulous, about, well, LGBTQ issues or my experience running for school board, running and winning, honey. And that's been fabulous. So I did a virtual today for the Pennsylvania Democratic Caucus. That was fabulous, honey.
Yeah. So that person right there is now in jail for sexual exploitation of a child. Maybe they made bail. I don't know. But you look at that. Do you want that person around your kids? That person there around your kids, giving them instruction on anything?
No.
I don't care if it's math. What'd you say?
I said no.
No.
No, I don't want them around my future kids.
No. You know, I went to school, and there were progressives on the teaching staff. We knew them. You know, one of the best teachers I ever had was Liberal Larry. He taught history. I challenged him in class all the time. I said, Larry, that's not history. That's your opinion. We had great debates. But I learned a lot. We didn't have that. I didn't have that. And anyhow, one more thing from the left while we're at it. Kamala Harris, who failed to get 81 million votes like her predecessor allegedly did. Joe Biden didn't get 81 million votes. Just keep that track. She was unable to steal an election. So what does she want to do now? Well, naturally, she wants to change the rules. Listen to this.
Rules and the structure. And
is that get rid of the Electoral College?
I think that should be a discussion that we should have. I don't think we should eliminate that as a point of discussion for potential action.
Kamala Harris. Front runner, by the way, to be the nominee in 2028. I'm rooting for her. I want word salad Harris back. I want, the person who we're never quite sure is sober back on the campaign trail. I think that would be just delicious, to say the least. I do. I think it would be great to have her back. I'm in great shape today. Why? I slept like a champ. Why? Ghost bed. We switched to the ghost bed, I'm guessing about 4 months ago now. And it changed everything. My sleep scores have improved dramatically. I got another crown last night. I don't get them every night, but I got one last night. They are a dream come true. How'd you like that play on words? Ghost bed. It is an American-made bed that you can try for 101 nights. It runs about half the price of the competition of the big-name beds out there. And I've got all the big-name beds. I've tried them all. And I think this is a better situation. So go to ghostbed.com. Ghostbed.com, 4th of July sale in effect. Take an extra 10% off because you're listening today. Financing available too. 101 nights. If you don't love it, send it back. Ghostbed.com/Gruber. That promo code is Gruber to save that 10%. Send me the email and thank me when you do. I'll be right back. All right, back to it now. We were talking earlier about Pride Month and how it has faded. The shine has come off that pumpkin, if you will, especially when it comes to transgender issues. Transgenderism and that whole whatever that is peaked about 2022, 2023. The support for transgenderism and surgeries and hormone replacements and all that, crazy, behavior peaked in 2022, 2023. Many hospitals like the Cleveland Clinic will no longer even participate in such things. It is the use of such chemicals and surgeries in places like the UK and other countries in the United Kingdom and EU have been banned. Speaking of the EU, Keir Starmer has resigned as the Prime Minister of the UK. He was useless anyway, just as an aside. He was so useless, I forgot to mention it. They won't get anything better. That's the sad fact. They'll get another globalist twit, and nothing will change, I can assure you on that. But back to this. A baseball team in Pennsylvania has rejected wearing pride jerseys, and so therefore they had to forfeit their game at the end of last week. Listen to this.
News out of York. The York Revolution says that it is canceling tonight's Pride Night game, saying that players refused to wear the Pride Night jersey. The team says the game will be forfeited, but says it will still hold a free Pride Night event at Wellspan Park. The Revs say that if you did buy tickets for tonight's game, you can redeem them for any future game. The event that is still on for tonight will run from 5:30 to 9.
Yeah, they said we're not wearing the jersey. We're not playing along. And the rules of the league, and this is true of some leagues, every player has to be wearing the same uniform. There can't be uniform deviation. Anyhow, they said we're not doing it. Throw me off the team, do whatever. We don't care. And again, standing up for what you believe is a beautiful thing. We're not going along with your little cult attitude anymore. We're out. And I applaud them for that. And earlier, we were also talking about all these crazy leftists, Graham Plattner, Abdul El Sayed, James Tallarico, all these folks. And Plattner is the most interesting damaged candidate. A guy that sported a Totenkopf. That's the name of the tattoo on his chest. Big Totenkopf. That's what the Nazi prison guards wore at the concentration camps. That was their big tattoo. And he wore it for 18 years and bragged to at least a couple of his former girlfriends of what it was and why it was. It wasn't some drunk thing that happened in Serbia by accident that he didn't know what it was. He knew exactly what it was. And so in a Capitol Hill hearing last week, Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio, he decided to ask a few questions of Republican nominees for federal jobs. I'd like you to hear it. Here it is.
So there was some concerns about the five of you not having your background checks and FBI pieces. So maybe we can do a little vetting here this morning, if you guys don't mind. So maybe we can assuage some concerns that people may have legitimately about your backgrounds. So starting with you, Mr. Duncan, if you could guys just say yes or no quickly. Do any of you have a Nazi tattoo?
Senator, as I mentioned yesterday, I do not have any tattoos, especially not a Nazi tattoo.
Mr. Kavanaugh?
Senator, I do not have any tattoos of that nature.
Cummings?
Do not have any tattoos, Senator.
Hamilton?
No.
No. Have any of you ever said that women deserve to be raped and should take accountability for being intoxicated?
Senator, absolutely not.
No. No. Senator, I've had family members sexually assaulted in very egregious ways, so absolutely not.
How about that black people don't tip well? Would that be in your background?
No, Senator. No, sir. Absolutely not.
No. Have any of you fantasized about raping men who broke into your homes?
Senator, absolutely not.
No, Senator. No, sir. No.
No. Have any of you fantasized about masturbating in public bathrooms?
Senator, absolutely not.
No, Senator. No, sir. No, sir.
No. Well, I'm glad that you clarified that for us. I mean, you wouldn't be qualified to be the Democrat nominee for Senate in Maine, but certainly glad that we got those questions out of the way.
That's one way to do it. got a Nazi tattoo, think that women deserve it, and so on and so forth. Love Porta-Johns? Nope, none of that. It does show quite clearly, doesn't it, the absurdity of what we're dealing with? It just underscores the absurdity of what we're dealing with some of these candidates. Bernie Moreno doing it. I thought that was a fun way to go about just destroying Graham Plattner, but the people of Maine are with Graham Plattner. A guy who, according to other reports, whenever he got paid, he'd just be off to the bar, drain the ATM, and then be broke in a day or two. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise you at this point, now would it? The answer is no, it would not, Mr. Gruber. No, it would not. And it's just... the Democrats have done what the Republicans have done historically, which is pick the worst possible candidates for vacancies in winnable seats. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Democrat Party is so far gone that Graham Plattner could win. Maybe the Democrat Party and progressive voters are so far gone that Abdul El Sayed could win in Michigan or James Tallarico in Texas. Maybe they are so far gone that people that hate this country, are anti-Semitic, fantasize about whatever, have Nazi tattoos, are not qualified to be Democrats, whatever it takes to have power. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they just don't care and care so much about power that character and doing the right thing just doesn't matter anymore. You tell me. SteveGruber.com. Send me an email. I'll be back. All right, dropping in just over half an hour, a brand new episode of Forgotten America, this time with Molly Engelhardt. She is a fascinating individual to me. She is a regenerative farmer in Texas, but she is a long way from where she ever used to be, which was a vegan restaurant owner. She owned vegan restaurants in Los Angeles, California. And when she realized that maybe that wasn't the healthiest thing, she started putting a little bit of meat on the menu. Well, as soon as she did, she was boycotted, she was protested, she was bankrupted. So she sold her properties in Los Angeles, moved to Texas. Now she has beef cattle, pigs, and chickens, and she has a restaurant there. And everything that she has on her farm goes to that restaurant. She has transformed. And along with her transformation came a transformation on her rights. Her rights. You see, she was a far left progressive, a socialist, till she saw the truth. Now she even believes in gun rights. Listen to this.
I believe that we should have all the guns that we want. The government should have no say, because the reason we're meant to have the right to bear arms is to bring checks and balances to the government. It's not for duck hunting. Our forefathers were not like, oh my goodness, freedom of speech, and then duck hunting. It was not the reason. So we have to understand there should be no restrictions, in my opinion, on the Second Amendment. I believe that we should have all the guns that we want, but we cannot let our guns be a pacifier when they are taking our land, they are taking our ability to grow food, they are taking our ability to reproduce away from us by sterilizing us, and we don't have anything to protect with those guns. I may have 25 guns, but if my land cannot produce food and my children cannot grow to healthy adulthood, what am I protecting?
Yeah. What am I protecting? You can catch that today, 9 a.m. Forgotten America. They drop every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Molly Engelhart, fascinating individual, transformation from a far-left progressive to a conservative regenerative farmer in Texas. Just go to YouTube, find Steve Gruber. Become a subscriber for free. Slap the like button and enjoy this episode and many, many more. All on YouTube. Steve Gruber. I'll be right back. It's wonderful. It's pretty damn good. All right. Well, if you checked your utility bill lately, have you seen it? You know, the head of Consumers Energy, what was the compensation? $11 million last year, and DTE $8.5 million for the CEO of these two monopolies. I definitely got in the wrong business. But this push towards renewables, as they say, is costing us a fortune from what I can tell. Isaac Orr is the co-founder and VP of Research at Always On Energy Research. Isaac, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Look, I have seen energy bills here skyrocket, and in the Northeast, it's worse. I mean, this whole thing about energy, and now plug in the data centers, right? Plug in the data centers. How much energy are they going to take? Now, I know that President Trump came out and said, look, data centers need to supply their own energy, but I don't think that's really going to be the way it is. I think some of these are going to plug right into the grid, and the grid is already fragile in many places, including Michigan. And I think it's going to cost me money. Am I just being a cynic, or is there a real possibility here?
I think there's a real possibility for that, Steve. So a recent study just came out and said that historic data centers on the system have probably reduced costs for customers because they consume a lot of electricity. And because it's a monopoly, essentially the company recovers the money that they spend on the infrastructure, so the transmission and distribution power plants, by selling megawatt hours. So if you sell more megawatt hours, you can bring down that price for everybody. So historically, I think it's true that data centers have helped to keep prices in check, but it's so different now with the scale. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars about to be spent to accommodate new data center growth. And I think that unless there are protections in place that require the data centers to pay for their own infrastructure and not just kind of a loose voluntary pledge, there is an opportunity that, normal customers will end up kind of cross-subsidizing new data center customers.
Well, you couple that with the fact that we shut down coal-fired power plants that were not, past their lifespan. We got rid of perfectly good power plants, not just here, but all over this country. Fortunately, the governor had enough foresight to say, maybe we should put Palisades back online. So we're going to do something in Michigan that's never been done before, put a nuclear power plant back online that had been decommissioned. And we need more power, not less. And am I just a cynic? I don't believe that solar panels are going to get the job done. And I think they're ugly, to be honest with you. And I think that windmills in beautiful, pristine forested areas are ugly as well. I think they're grotesque, but maybe I'm just a cynic. But are those sources going to be the answer to our electrical needs and our power needs 5 years from now or 25 years from now?
I mean, I think that the record of data center owners building natural gas plants at their facilities instead of using only wind, solar, and battery storage puts the lie to the idea that, intermittent weather-driven sources are going to be able to power our society. And I'm glad you brought up the coal plant closures, Steve, because, the J.H. Campbell plant in Michigan should continue running for another 10 or 15 years. And that's really part of the story when it comes to can we accommodate data center growth at a reasonable cost? Those coal plants are some of the most affordable, reliable sources of power in Michigan. And you would be able to accommodate more data centers if you keep them online instead of shutting them down and replacing them with something else. So, the first rule of holes is to stop digging. And if you're in a reliability hole from a power perspective, the worst thing you can do is to keep shutting down these perfectly good coal and nuclear power plants. So, ultimately, we need a more sensible approach that keeps all of our existing plants online. And if you want to build new natural gas or nuclear, that's great. But, first we need to stop the bleeding, and then we can talk about growing the system.
Where is the Campbell plant, and when is it slated to shut down?
Yeah, so the Campbell plant is in Michigan, and it has been slated to shut down for the last 2 years. And essentially the Trump administration has been using a Department of Energy order to keep it from shutting down. And that was actually really fortunate. During Winter Storm Fern, the Campbell plant was operating at a fairly high capacity. So, the rest of the grid was very stressed as a result of, high demand during a very cold snap. And that plant is valuable, and that plant could be generating more income for its customers. But, the plant owner keeps trying to say that they want to shut it down instead of to continue to utilize that. Some of that's due to Michigan's 100% carbon-free mandate, and some of it is just kind of the perverse incentives of monopoly utilities. Because they're a monopoly, they get to essentially build whatever, whenever they build something new and that's approved by the Public Service Commission, they get to make a profit on that money, or on that money that they spend. It's called a return on equity. So ultimately, the business model of utilities is opaque. Not many people understand it, and they exploit that to the extent that they can to the benefit of their shareholders at the expense of ratepayers.
So the bottom line is pretty simply this. The utilities love to knock down perfectly good power plants to build new ones because they get to make money on that deal. Right? I mean, I've talked about that for years on this program. You just said the same thing. They get to make money on this deal, so they'd like to knock them all down and start over because it's more money to them. And their CEO only made like $12 million at consumers last year, so he probably needs a raise.
That's 100% right. We call it green plating, Steve. So they shut down the coal plant that was perfectly good, depreciated, low cost, and then they love renewables or wind and solar because it's not a one-for-one replacement for the coal plant. So they need to build a bunch of wind, a bunch of solar, and the same amount of natural gas just to come out even from a reliability standpoint. So really they get to cash in 2 or 3 times on replacing that same amount of capacity in order to, replace it with more carbon-free generation sources. So that's why you saw a bunch of utility companies, say that they were going to be carbon-free by 2040 or 2050. It was a giant cash grab that was kind of dressed up as environmentalism.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Isaac, because, I drive down different stretches of road in Michigan, and I'll see acre upon acre upon acre of these. I think they're just an eyesore, these solar panels. Are they good for the environment when you go through and you take out the trees and the bushes and the water supply and you kick out the deer and the turkeys and all the other little creatures that live there and you put down limestone or whatever you put down and you put in the solar panels and you run a fence around it? Is that really a green new future?
I think that's kind of a subjective thing. If you like the trees and the turkeys better than the solar panels, you're probably going to say that. I'm kind of neutral on their environmental impact. So if you built a factory there, you could argue that it was a better use of the land, and I probably would. But I don't think that the solar panels are necessarily polluting anything. I think that they're just kind of an eyesore. They're expensive.
Well, hold on real quick. What happens if there's a hailstorm like we've seen and the solar panels get destroyed and all of the things and the components of those Chinese-made solar panels end up in our soil? 20 seconds, last word to you.
Yeah, so for me, the big concern is glass. Glass is a hazard even though it's not toxic. So when solar companies say it's not toxic, it's still hazardous. So,
right.
I think that's the big thing for me. A lot of those solar panels are made with, I don't think it's going to cause like water pollution or anything like that, but it's going to be a hassle to clean up with all that glass.
Oh, there's a lot of chemicals in there that we, look, I don't think the Chinese oversight is the same as the American oversight, but that's me. Maybe I'm just a cynic. Isaac, good conversation, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
All right. Sit tight. Ivy's on her way. All right, jumping back into it with my favorite guest every day. Ivy's here. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
My favorite guest, there you are, looking all summery. How sore are you today?
Oh, so sore. So yesterday, I took my nieces and nephews wake surfing, and I actually took my youngest nephew on the board with me. So it's always very strenuous on the body, but it was a great day. Love Northern Michigan in the summer. It's good to get outside and
Love
be
it.
active.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good sore, right? It's a good sore.
It's a good sore. So earlier, Steve, we were talking about the Democratic Party and how it's been completely taken over by the progressives
Yes.
and the far left radicals. And they talk a lot about hope. And I want to get your reaction to this soundbite with Don Lemon. Go ahead.
I really truly believe this. We each have light inside of us. And we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything external to ourselves. And when we feel that and not allow an election or an individual to dampen that light, and instead let that light kind of carry us, in particular through moments of darkness, that we not only act on that hope, but we inspire that hope in each other. And in particular at this moment, it is so important that we not only have hope, but that we understand that that should be a verb.
Not that I'm opposed to being hopeful and being the light in the world, but I am just super thankful that Trump is our president and Kamala Harris is not.
My mother
I
had a
do
word.
also want to get your reaction. Go ahead. What did you say?
Hold on. My mother had a word. She would call that gobbledygook. And it's
Yes.
meaningless word salad. Anyhow, go on.
I do want to get your reaction to Starmer's resignation this morning. I don't know if you heard it, but Anthony, let's hear that.
Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess.
My reaction, he was useless, a globalist, a guy who didn't help us in Iran. You know, it's interesting. Europe always demands America's help when they have any problem. When America needs help, they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Well, you know what? Get out, pal. The problem
This
that
it's been something like over the last 10 years, they had an extraordinary amount of resignations for prime minister, have they not?
Yeah, they have. Unprecedented. I don't like to say that word very often, but it is unprecedented. And here's the problem, Ivy. They'll get nothing better. They might get something worse if that's possible. You know, when Trudeau was in charge up in Canada, he was awful. Then they get Mark Carney, who is worse and just a complete moron and twit. You know, Canada and Europe, they're paving the road to hell with their policies and their so-called leaders. These are not leaders. These are weasels.
Yeah, and you do make a good point, as you were talking about earlier, in regards to all of the Europeans that are visiting the United States, and they're seeing what freedom is really like. And maybe they take that back to their own countries and say, hey, I want to be a little bit more like America and vote with their feet, you know?
Yeah, they are. I'm trying to figure out how many prime ministers they've had in the last 10 years. At least 6, apparently. 6 in the last 10 years. Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer. I mean, these people are they're a mess. They are a mess, and Canada now wants to align closer. But the point you make, and we're going to continue to make, because it is the most joyful thing that I've seen lately, are all these Europeans celebrating how great America is because they say the same thing. We've been lied to by the media about what America is, and so have Americans by their own media. Not here, but America's terrible. America's this bad thing. America is the most wonderful thing ever created as far as nations go. Right?
I agree. And that's why it's so important to get out of your house, go and be involved in your community, talk to people, smile, make eye contact. I feel like this day and age, people don't want to actually even make eye contact in the grocery store, for instance.
That's a
Say
big point you
hello,
make.
open a door.
Yeah, it's a big point you make, because I've tested this. We heard this, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, that adult men won't make contact with people. So I've tested theory. 90% of the people are staring at their toes. It's true. I look at people in the eye all the time. How you doing? Good morning. I open doors. You know that. You know me well. And I do that all the time. And try to say something else I try to do. Thank you. You're doing a nice job. Really appreciate what you're doing. Give people some compliments. Build them up a little bit. Right?
It's so important in a world that seems that we're just completely infiltrated by negative news, and you see negative things on social media platforms and the arguments that ensue on social media. It's nice to be, smile, say hello. I mean, it could really change someone's perspective on their day, and
Absolutely.
being a light in the world is a good thing in that regard.
Yeah, being a light in the world is a good thing in that regard. But Kamala Harris didn't exactly get it. I don't think she's quite on it there. Anyhow, Ivy, it's Northern Michigan in the summer. We love it. I love you, and life is good. All right?
Love you too, Steve. Thank you.
Of course. We'll take a break. Final thoughts after this. Couple of big things before we go today. Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100. The former Fed chair, his wife, Andrea Mitchell, news anchor Andrea Mitchell, has announced his passing at the age of 100. Just a quick note there. Here's the story, though, and I love the name of the book. Lindy Lee is a former Democrat fundraiser, made millions of dollars for the Democrats, and then switched party affiliation over the unheeded warning signs of President Joe Biden and his decline that everybody knew, and they lied about. She called the book Unburdened. Beautiful, beautiful. Whatever was out there, it wasn't the truth, she writes. They wanted him to go. And also in my book, I'll be telling people exactly who was aware of Biden's cognitive decline, but pretended otherwise. I remember getting a text from Adam Schiff. I have it in my book. Basically, Adam Schiff was, I can't remember what he said on TV, but I'm telling you right now that behind the scenes, he very much wanted Biden to go and then went out on TV and lied about it. A spokesman for Schiff responded to Lee's claims, noting that the senator has made his doubts about Biden known publicly after a 2024 debate. The senator's concerns and call on President Biden to not run was very public, so none of this is news. But even beyond Schiff, Lee, who ran a formidable fundraising operation for the party, was connected with a wide swath of figures. Yeah, unburdened. They didn't want to get ostracized by the party. It's like the axiom, you come at the king, you better not miss. Everyone would have missed, she says. Lee said that the fear was bolstered by internal research the party had done, indicating that no one else in the party had the capital to challenge Biden. There are many candidates who pulled themselves against Biden and then realized that they couldn't beat him in a primary. It wasn't a matter so much of anti-Trumpism. It was self-interest. I've seen the polling data. It's also included in my book. Polling no one has ever seen before. So she's going to bring it all. I'm going to have some fun with this. Fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is Daybreak. And remember, only you can save America.